Hello, good evening and welcome to the United Stand. Jose Mourinho is wanted by Real Madrid. How does that make you feel as Manchester United fans? Really want to delve into that tonight. Also, I bet you didn't think Christina Aguilera would get a mention on the United Stand. She doesn't get a mention anywhere, to be honest, anymore, but she's going to get a mention on the United Stand a little bit later. We're not about to get dirty, but we will be referencing her in a little bit. But Manchester United manager Jose Mourinho at the moment. Real Madrid just sacked their manager. We don't have to pretend we know how to pronounce his name anymore. Let's call him Lepetigui or whatever his name was. He's been sacked. They need a new manager. Antonio Conte was the feeling, but apparently Ramos and the dressing room not happy with Antonio Conte being the manager, so Real Madrid are going to have to look elsewhere. Pochettino is quite fancied, but it would be very hard to wrestle him from there. And Florentino Perez, this is coming from Duncan Castles, who's a journalist who's very, very close to Jose Mourinho, allegedly, saying that Florentino Perez would like Mourinho back at Real Madrid. They never wanted him to go in the first place when he returned to Chelsea. Florentino Perez would love to have him back at Real Madrid. However, there is a little bit of a retainer on that. And that is that if Mourinho is sacked by Manchester United, they would like to have him. Which for me, look, that's the be-all and end-all of this straight away, in my opinion, because as we know, if Jose Mourinho gets sacked by Manchester United, he gets 20 million quid. So that's £20 million in Mourinho's pocket and a new job at Real Madrid. Who's the winner? Mourinho. The other scenario is Real Madrid want Mourinho. They pay us £20 million to buy him out of his contract. Who's the winner? Potentially is £20 million, manager gone. The third scenario is obviously that he stays at the club. So we either sack him, he gets a load of money and he goes to Real Madrid. Real Madrid take him from us and they give us money for it. And in which case Mourinho doesn't get his payout, we just get the money. And third case scenario is he stays where he is. And I think it's open to. There's a lot to talk about tonight actually, because there's some interesting things coming out about Manchester United. Two very different stories really. One, that Mourinho is frustrated with Woodward again because he wanted to have a meeting with him this week to discuss the director of football and future transfers in January, and Woodward's cancelled that meeting. But then on the other hand, you're getting stories that Mourinho will be given £100 million to spend in January, which we've discussed previously on this show, and a lot of you have said that you wouldn't want to do it. But let's talk about the Real Madrid thing first. I want to get some of your comments. 20 million to us, please, says Mahi. Look, to be honest with you, I don't actually believe that a one result against Everton, where the players that are keeping Mourinho in a job. I mean, I must just say this. I said this today on Twitter and got a few people coming back at me, so I'd like to know what your opinions are. I basically said, look, Anthony Martial has kept Mourinho in a job, and I had people coming back. What are you on about? What are you on about? Right, okay, I'll explain it for you then. Anthony Martial came on in the second half against Newcastle. Mata scores a free kick, which was a brilliant free kick, but it was sort of a, it was the start. The second goal that Martial scored with the combination with Pogba basically got us back in the game. We went on and won the game. So there we go. That's 3 points down to Martial. Chelsea, the point. He scored both goals. He got us a point at Chelsea. That's 4 points down to Martial. And then at the weekend against Everton, again, it's Martial's winner, isn't it? That wins the game, the second goal. So he gets his 7 points. Anthony Martial's not been treated well by Mourinho. Neither is Pogba. Those two players for me have been fantastic over the last 3 games in the Premier League, and they've got the points. So Mourinho has had to scrape the barrel against what his ethos is. I mean, these are players that, certainly in Martial's case, he's not really wanted to play. He's had to play him because of injuries, and Martial's kept him in a job. So for me, I think what's happening with United at the moment is Mourinho is very, very haphazard in what he's doing. I mean, Lukaku's his boy, and he's had to drop him because he's been forced to sort of drop him, and we win a game and we're a much better team without Lukaku. I think Lukaku will come back into that team. I think Matic is still always going to be in that team. I think Fellaini fit will play in that team. I think Sanchez will go back into that team, and you'll start to lose the players that have actually made the difference over the last few weeks. I think we'll beat Bournemouth. I think Juventus and City will be a big test. But I'd long term, I just don't see it turning around for Mourinho. I'd love to be proved wrong, but I don't. So if somebody said to me, would you let Mourinho go to Real Madrid? I personally would say yes, but I would only let it happen if they give us the money for him. I think that's a brilliant scenario for United. I think it solves everybody's problem. United don't have to sack Mourinho, and we make a bit of money out of it. Mourinho doesn't get sacked and gets out of Dodge, because I don't think he's particularly happy at United. And Real Madrid get a new manager. I think that's the best case scenario. The worst case scenario is if we sack him, pay him 20 million, then he goes to Real Madrid. I don't think it's good for anybody, that. So I would hope that that's the case. And I suppose the most interesting thing is, who will Real Madrid go for next? I mean, I've said this before about Spanish clubs. They tend to go for unknowns or people who are in their backroom staff, and maybe Real Madrid will do that again. But I certainly think I wouldn't want Conte at United, so why would Real Madrid want him? I think that's a bad appointment. I mean, they could look at someone like a Laurent Blanc or a Jardim, but neither have really got connections with Real Madrid. I mean, Blanc is a Barcelona man, isn't he? So I don't see that. Pochettino, they could, but they'd have to spend a lot of money on it. So I can see why Real Madrid would want Mourinho. They need somebody to go in with a big ego to take over that dressing room. And, you know, whatever you think about Mourinho, he has got a big ego and he would fancy doing that. And he's, you know, the thing about Real Madrid is it's a two-horse race. In the Premier League at the moment, you've got 5, 6, 7 really good teams. Then you've got teams, you know, 5 or 6 more mid-table teams that can beat you on their day if you're Man United. So it's a tough job for Jose, whereas at Real Madrid, I think he would relish that. Let's have a look at some of your comments before I talk about the next bit. A new front three, fast pace, and a couple in the middle and park back, spend 780 million. Well, yeah, okay. 100 million in January. Who do we get? To Shea Costello. We'll talk about that in a moment. I think Zidane might be the man for Real Madrid to smooth gaming. I don't think he'll be going back. New manager is needed in United, big time. Jardim is a quality manager, says Billy T. Real need Ronaldo, not a manager, says Zana. We'll have Blanc or Jardim, says Sam de Flor. I'd be happy with them. Conte, I just don't rate Conte, you lad. I really don't rate Conte at all. I don't think he's that good. However, there's somebody there saying that Conte's a top manager. He just doesn't suit United or Real because of his style of play, Jack Coleman. Yeah, I think you're probably right with that. But what I would say is, though, and I really do want to pose this question because it's very important for all. I mean, everyone knows, I think, Mourinho will end up leaving Manchester United. You've had the Flex and Rant show this afternoon where Rants is adamant that Mourinho should get no credit for Martial or any performance from United at the weekend because he's scraping the barrel now and being forced to do things fans have been telling him to do for ages, which I think, you know, is a fair opinion. But there is the other side to the coin. There are the pro-Mourinho people. There are the people who actually take this as a compliment. They're saying, well, look, Real Madrid, 3 times Champions League winners. They want our manager. That's great because he's not going to go. He's staying with us and we've got a manager that Real Madrid want. That's a tick in the box for Jose. If one of the world's biggest clubs want him to be manager, no way you're not having him, and this is exactly why we should keep him. And I've seen people going, yeah, you know what, I'm Mourinho out, but the fact that Real Madrid want him just shows what a good manager we've actually got. So I don't know how you feel about that. And I suppose, look, you know, this is where Christina Aguilera comes in. Christina Aguilera. That's not even a bloody name, is it? Christina Aguilera. It sounds like something Torval and Dean do. Christina Aguilera. I don't know how you pronounce it. Anyway, we're going to call her that. She sang that song, Gonna Get Dirty. Anyway, Christina Aguilera. I mean, who'd have thought it? Who'd have thought she'd be on a United Stand show? But the reason I'm mentioning her is because I'm a genie in a bottle. You gotta rub me the right way. Right, so, Genie in a Bottle, Christina Aguilera, what's that got to do with United Stand, Jose Mourinho and Real Madrid? I will tell you what it's got to do with it. It is because Mourinho is a genie in a bottle. He is a genie in a bottle. You rub his lamp in its prime and he grants you 3 wishes. And those 3 wishes are normally best team in the country managers, wins a Premier League title, and sometimes he even wins you a Champions League. But he definitely will deliver on a couple of those wishes for you. He is a genie in a bottle. We thought we were going to get a genie in a bottle, but when we went to rub that lamp, it was all rusty and sealed and the wishes never came true. It was a faulty genie in a bottle. And I think that's the thing with Manchester United, is with Mourinho, I think some people are thinking, well, what if Real Madrid get Mourinho, they get a bit of WD-40 and get a few Brillo pads and they scrub all the rust off and the genie pops out and delivers them Champions League and Premier League titles. What if Mourinho is, you know, Real Madrid can get the genie out the bottle again? And, you know, maybe they play a bit of Christina and it's like Mourinho's coming out, genie in a bottle, and he's giving them wishes. Maybe that can happen. It's that risk for United, isn't it? It's that thing, well, yeah, let Real Madrid have him. I even said it myself this afternoon. Let Real Madrid have him. That genie's finished. He ain't getting out of there. He's ate too much of his own ego and he can't fit out the bottle anymore. And that's my firm belief. But what if he does go to Real Madrid? We go and get another manager that the board pick who's not suitable for United, and in 2 years' time, Mourinho's sat there, flying out of his genie bottle, giving us the fingers as he comes, you know, delivers a Champions League to Real Madrid. You know, that could happen. That could happen, I suppose, and that is a consideration if you're going to do a fair balance on it. Personally, I think he's too fat. I think he's stuck in the bottle, and he has stuffed his ego, and he ain't coming out. But go and buy Christina's latest album. It's cracking, apparently. But no, she hasn't sponsored the show or anything like that. But Genie in the Bottle was there. You go. But no, there is a serious message there, and that is, yes, a lot of us want to get rid of Mourinho. But what if it's true? What if in the right surroundings, with the right board backing him, because Real Madrid would back him, he takes Real Madrid back to the top again. To be honest with you, it's a bit like, I would say though, managing Real Madrid is a bit like managing Celtic or Rangers when it was just a 2-horse race, because you're going to finish first or second. It's just about the results you get against the other team. And I think, Real Madrid are not going to finish. Real Madrid are not going to be in 8th place, are they, after 10 games when Mourinho's there? They're going to be second, probably. So, look, I personally feel that Mourinho is not going to go to Real Madrid, but I do actually think a little bit grown up. If everybody was a little bit grown up about it, and it was, as Duncan Castles has reported, and the reality is, of course Real Madrid want Mourinho. I think that's one thing, that's one hurdle we can jump. We can jump it with any horse. We can jump it with a bloody Shetland. Real Madrid do want Mourinho. Of course they do. That's not speculation. That's not like saying United want Messi. We would. It's the same thing, actually. I've contradicted myself. It is the same thing. Of course Real Madrid want Jose Mourinho. He's already been there. He knows what the club's all about. He's won titles there. He knows all that. The club's in a desperate state. They lost the 3 times Champions League winner. They lost that manager. They brought somebody in who's been a disaster. It's a disastrous start to the season. They're probably not going to win the league this year. Of course they'd want Jose Mourinho. His pedigree is absolutely what Real Madrid would want. So I think that's true. But look, are our board going to sack Mourinho so he can go there? No. Are Real Madrid going to spend the £20 million to get Mourinho? I don't know. Is Mourinho going to walk away from United, or is he going to be stubborn and think he can turn this around because we've beaten Everton? Probably. So I don't see it happening, but I think it has got. I think in many ways it would be a positive move for everybody. As I say, Mourinho doesn't get the sack, United get a bit of money, and Real Madrid get what they want. And I think the vast majority of United fans would do it. Would do it. I mean, Moada makes a good point that the Real Madrid fans don't like him. Yeah, that's probably true. Ramos would be happy. Look, I think Real Madrid will end up going, and Daniel Gray says Pochettino. I think Real Madrid will go with something a little bit new, but it's an interesting one. And I certainly don't think Mourinho is going to be sacked by United any time before Christmas now. I think that the results that we're going to get over the next few weeks, you can almost predict them. You can see that we've got Fulham at home on the horizon, 3 points. We've got Palace at home on the horizon, 3 points. Bournemouth away on Saturday is an exciting game, but I sort of feel that we might beat them, and then it doesn't really matter what happens against Juventus and City because you've got an international break. So I think Mourinho's here till Christmas, and if he makes it till Christmas, Leo Orchid's made a contribution saying carrot toenails. I don't know what that's got to do with anything. Maybe it's an in-joke, but there you go. Please do smash a like on the button, by the way, everybody. Let's see if we can get to 500 likes, especially for the Christina Aguilera thing. I cannot understand if I've got my name right or not. Weirdest super chat ever, says George Kyle. But yes, let me lead into the next bit I wanted to talk about. If Jose Mourinho was to make it till Christmas, that's next to January. It's official. January comes after December this year. And in January there is a transfer window. And there has been a lot of talk about it. £100 million for Manchester United. Now tomorrow I'm going to do a transfer Red Rumours, which I haven't done for a while. Massive transfer shows throughout the summer and January on the United stand. But we do not normally like to, around this time of year, start doing a weekly Red Rumours where we talk about potential transfer targets, ins and outs, especially with January coming up. So I'm going to do that tomorrow. So I don't really want to delve too much into the targets because I've got a couple of ideas as to who Mourinho will be going for. But what I did want to talk about is this rumour that Mourinho is going to get £100 million to spend, because I just don't know what I just don't know. It just doesn't make any sense. It makes no sense, because why didn't they give it him in the summer? In the summer, they didn't. They'd just given him a new contract in January. And in the summer, we all expected that Manchester United were going to spend a lot of money. And they didn't really. Fred and Dalot and a Stoke keeper, 70 million we spent. And when you think about the fact that we sold a few players as well, Sam Johnston, Daley Blind, we only spent net 50 million quid, which is peanuts for a team like Manchester United. So why would, the January transfer market from a business point of view is a bad transfer market. You overpay, you get players clubs are only willing to go. In the summer, you can do better deals and you can get anybody you want because it is the summer, it's not the middle of the season. So January is a bad time to buy. So in a sentence, it makes no sense that United wouldn't back Mourinho in the summer transfer window where you can get better deals, to then give him the money in January where you're going to get bent over and looped. It's a fact. So it doesn't make any sense on that level for me at all. And also, let's add into that equation, in the summer, Mourinho as he said, had finished second in the league. So the board had every reason to believe that Mourinho could take us to that next step. In January, well, we can't win the title now. So the best situation in January is we're fighting for top 4. Oh, we'll give you the money now. In the summer, we weren't fighting for top 4. We could have potentially been fighting for the title if they brought him the players he wanted, apparently. I don't think that would have made any difference. But in the board's mind, they don't know anything anyway. They don't know anything about football. But then they're going to give him the money in January when we pretty much know the best we can get is 4th place. And what if we don't get 4th place? You give £100 million to a manager that you're going to have to sack in May. And that brings me to Van Gaal. Van Gaal was in this situation. I remember the Christmas before Van Gaal was sacked. A lot of us were saying it's time for him to go. We wanted him to be sacked, give a new manager 4 months. Considering Van Gaal only missed out on 4th place on goal difference, imagine if they'd brought the new manager in January. I think we would have made top 4 that year, but the board dillied and dallied like normal, and we ended up keeping Van Gaal. But what they didn't do, even though they were clearly keeping him, they didn't give him any money in that January. So again, it would be contradictory to past decisions made by this board, where yes, they stick with managers until it's mathematically impossible for us to be in the top 4, but they don't start chucking money at people. Certainly that didn't happen for Van Gaal. So for me, it makes no sense that United would give Mourinho money in January. And what would we get in January as well? Josie Tutu made a contribution. Who cares if it works out for Jose and Real Madrid? The fact is that it's not working here in Manchester United. I'm done with his hateful arrogance. Thanks for the contribution, Josie. And to be honest with you, that's fair enough, isn't it? I suppose you can worry about the genie in the bottle, can't you? Will he pop out for Real Madrid? But this is year 3 for United, and he's certainly not popping out here, is he? And as you know what, Real Madrid job is infinitely easier than Manchester United. As I said, it's a 2-horse race, and you've got great resources and a great squad. I'd say, I've always said that Manchester United is the best job in the world at the moment because we're a fallen broken legend. And if you're a top manager, you know that if I go in and fail, everyone else has failed. But if I go in and succeed, I can be the manager that got United back on track. But Real Madrid has suddenly become that now. In some ways, the Real Madrid job is more attractive than United because United are a club in a mess with a board that's a bit of a concern and a league that is very, very, very competitive. There's 5 or 6 teams that could win that league now, and United's not one of them. So it's a very hard job for a new manager, even though it's an exciting job. You look at Real Madrid, 3 times Champions League winners. New manager's already been in and failed and got sacked. Go in there now, resources, loads of good players, 2-horse race in the league. You can go in there, get them back on track. So Real Madrid is a very, very, very interesting job. I mean, Jack Coleman says it's a 3-horse race in Spain. I know you're talking about Atletico Madrid, but did you see him against Dortmund? I think Atletico Madrid are a good team. I don't think they're a 3-horse race. Happy Halloween, says Master Boy 21132. It's not Halloween here for another few hours, but yes, I will be playing Red Dead Redemption actually tonight on my channel if anyone wants to join me. So we will be passing over into Halloween. That's on the Mark Goldbridge live stream channel. You can search that and subscribe. I'll be live at 11 PM, which is in about 2.5 hours time. But yeah, I just don't see why the club would give him any money in January. It makes no sense. And most important of all for me is, beyond the politics and it not making any sense, is what can you get in January? And also, what do we need? What do you think we need in the live comments? Because I think this, we need a centre-back thing. I don't think we do need a centre-back. I don't. I think Lindelof's coming into form because he's playing week in, week out. I think Chris Smalling is probably our 3rd choice centre-back. Yes, we need someone to play with Lindelof, but I still think that Eric Bailly and Rojo, if he stays fit, they're your 4 centre-backs. And it should be Bailly and Lindelof first choice, with Smalling and Rojo as backup. So I don't think we need a centre-back, certainly not in January. And I don't want to see Eric Bailly leaving or anything like that. I think it'll be an absolute waste of time. Do we need a right back? No, we've got Dalot. Do we need a left back? No, we've got Luke Shaw. We certainly don't need a goalkeeper. We move into the midfield. I think we do need a midfielder, but does Mourinho want a midfielder? I don't think he does. He loves Matic, although I'd discard him. You've got Fred, you've got Herrera, you've got Fellaini, you've got McTominay, you've got Pereira, you've got Pogba. So we're well stacked there. You move into the front 3 positions. Well, yeah, I probably think we need a right midfielder, but Mata's playing well. You've got Lingard, you've got Sanchez, you've got Rashford, you've got Martial, you've got Lukaku. So what are we going to go and buy in January? You know what he's going to go and buy. He's going to go and spend a lot of money on a centre-back. Well, does a centre-back make Manchester United play better football? Not really. I think Lindelof's coming into his own now. I think Smalling's been very consistent. Does Van Dijk Alderweireld, John Stones, I mean, I'm talking about top centre-backs, come into United and make us a better team? I don't think so. I think United's problem is Lukaku's holding the ball up and slowing us down. And I think Matic moves the ball too slow from back to front. I think that's United's biggest issue at the moment. So I don't know what we would go for. We need a solid striker, says Daniel. Well, yeah, for me, if I had £100 million at United, I'd get rid of Lukaku and I'd bring Icardi in. Exactly. That's what I would do. I think that is the most important situation for United because James Tinker's made a contribution. Mark, can I have a snuggle? Mate, you wouldn't want a snuggle off me tonight. I've got a very, very bad cough and a cold. I would irritate you. Let's put it that way. But no, I think that's the logical thing for United. I think anybody who's got an ounce of football knowledge in an attacking sense would notice that the ball goes to Lukaku and our game slows down. You need a striker that's has got something about them. Not just the spin and turn and speed, but also the ability to, when the ball comes in, sometimes they're not taking a touch and they're finding a pass that goes to someone's feet instead of behind them. Or when they do take a touch, it doesn't bounce off them like it's a sponge wall. That's what we need at United. But I think Jose will spend money on centre-backs because that's what Mourinho wants to do. He wants a team that doesn't concede goals. And then when you score 1 or 2 goals at the other end, you win 1 or 2-0. Not the United way. Andre Pereira says, don't you think it's in a time Gary Neville made an appearance on United Stand? He's been on bloody Arsenal Fan TV. Would love to watch you flex and rants discuss Jose in or out. Gary Neville is always welcome on this channel. I don't think he likes fan channels though, does he? That's why he was on Arsenal Fan TV. He's always welcome on here to have his say. Centre-back leader would help a lot to organise our defence as Farhan. Well, that's a different proposition, that is. If you get a centre-back who's a leader, I do agree that would help. If you could get a Vidic or a Ferdinand or a Steve Bruce or a Stam or someone like that in at United, that makes a lot of a difference. But I think that is something that's missing throughout the team. So why should it be a centre-back? If you had a Roy Keane CDM, or if you had a Cantona as a number 10, or United need a leader on the pitch. We are rudderless, and we're doing well at the moment. I think in the last 3 games, 7 points from the last 3 games is actually very, very good. But I think we all know as well that 7 points, whilst it could have been 9 if we'd beaten Chelsea, it could also have been like 2. We could have got beat by Newcastle easily. Chelsea could have beat us if they put us to the sword in the first half. Everton, I think, was only ever going to be a draw at best, but it could have been a draw. So, it's going well for us at the moment. But I do think that the lack of leadership in the club will cause us a problem again. A lot of people are saying, "Oh, we're going to lose to City." I think we'll lose to Juventus. I can't see us beating Juventus, but lose to City. Look, I'm old enough to remember when Man City was shit. They were only invented 10 years ago, but no, to be serious, they used to play at a place called Main Road, and they used to be pretty crap. But on Derby Day, sometimes they'd beat us because the gulf in ability was massive. United were vintage Sir Alex Ferguson years, and Man City, they were yo-yoing between first and Premier League division. So, but because it's a derby, anything can happen. So, as we saw back in April. So, I don't necessarily think we're going to get beat by Man City. I've got a funny feeling we might beat Bournemouth on Saturday as well. I've just got a funny feeling. I feel quite optimistic about United at the moment, and it's a nice feeling to have. But I don't think the problems go away either. I still think those problems are there, and I've always said that as far as I'm concerned, you've got to look at the bigger picture. And the bigger picture is that after 10 games, we're 8th. And the bigger picture is that we've lost a lot of games this season. And the bigger picture is this is Jose Mourinho's 3rd year. This was meant to be about winning a title. We're not going to win a title. I think the best we can do at the moment is 4th. I tweeted it out this morning at Mark Goldbridge, if you want to follow me. But I said this morning, I think City are going to win the league. I think Liverpool will push them, but they're the only team that will push them. I think Chelsea will be solidly 3rd. And I think if United want to do anything, they've got to challenge Arsenal and Spurs for 4th place. But at the moment, I don't necessarily think we will. I think if we beat Bournemouth on Saturday, Arsenal will drop points to Liverpool. Spurs will drop points throughout the season. We might be able to scrape 4th place. But to be honest with you, if United finish 4th in May, I would sack Mourinho. I think that's abysmal. To drop from 2nd to 4th and be nowhere near a title challenge again, I think that's him gone for me anyway. But to be honest with you, I would snap the hands off anybody who offered that. If we can be in the Champions League next year, I would take that now. And if it's with Jose, great. George Ramos says, I think we need a centre-back in January and Jones, Rojo and Smalling get the boots. I think I ain't got a problem with Chris Smalling. I think he's been very, very consistent for United. But I do actually think he's a third-choice centre-back. I don't think he's a first-choice centre-back. That's what I'd say about that. Let's whack into some of your comments. Yes, so tomorrow at 1 o'clock it'll be the Transfer Daily show back. Not Transfer Daily, our transfer show, looking at players that we might be bringing in January. But in a broad scope, would you give him money to spend in January? Because I can't see why we would. It makes no difference. It does make a difference, but it makes no sense for the reasons I've already said. Carrick for manager, says Ladios. If you're going to appoint Michael Carrick as manager, why the hell did we never give it to the class of 92? I mean, Carrick's been a great player for the club. But as I said about Carrick, what people conveniently forget about Carrick, and I think he's great, and I hope he has a great career as a manager. But look at what Lampard's doing. He's gone to Derby, they're doing brilliant. Look at what Gerrard's doing at Rangers. You know, he's doing quite well. Michael Carrick is sitting next to Jose Mourinho. I would like to see Michael Carrick go and do what Lampard's done. Go and manage a championship side, create your own identity, and then come back to United. Because I think Carrick could get his teams playing well. I don't think Carrick will ever be United manager. And also, I don't know why Carrick should be given the United manager. Because, you know, we could have done that with Giggs. And we didn't do it. So why would we do it with Carrick? So I think it would be a big, big risk. And probably one that I'm not willing to take. And let's not forget with Carrick. I think, you know, Carrick for a long time has been one of my favourite players. But he has been here throughout Moyes, Van Gaal and Mourinho, and a lot of that he was a player in their eras, and he didn't really get the club back on its feet or lead it or anything like that. And you know, I think Carrick's a great player, but I always felt Carrick was a great player in a team that had leaders around him. I don't think Carrick's a leader, but as a manager it's different. Maybe he could, but I wouldn't want to risk giving it to Carrick. No, I think you go for a top manager. That's what Manchester United need to do. I think Eddie Howe is a name worth mentioning. I think that would be a massive risk that the club wouldn't want to do. But I think if you're talking about Michael Carrick, I'd take Eddie Howe every day of the week. It's when did Rashford last put in a good performance? Bang average, says Chris. You know what? What I liked about Rashford against Everton is that he didn't play particularly well, but it was the attributes he brings to the game that makes me think. Imagine if we had a number 9 who did play well in that position, because what Rashford did do, he's got the movement, he's got the control, and he's got the pass that Lukaku doesn't have. So even though Rashford had a bad game, he still made us a better team because of the way he moved. Lukaku's just too static and slow. Russell Noyoni says Jose's happy at United and the board is happy with Jose. I think they only see this as a rough patch. I think you're right, Russell. I think you're absolutely right, and I'm so glad I saw that comment. I think you're spot on. I think Mourinho is happy at United, whether that's naive or not. I think the board are happy with Mourinho, whether that's naive or not. And I think both board and Mourinho think this is a rough patch that they're going to come through together, because I don't think any of them have the knowledge to actually realise this is year 3. You're not going to win the title. What the hell are you doing here? You know, you don't play good football. You don't promote youth. You were appointed to win titles. How many years are you going to be waiting to do that? Because all I see with United is that we're going backwards at the moment. Obviously, in a short-term thing, we're not going backwards. I think we've played some of the best football we've played under Mourinho in the last 3 games. But I don't see that as a long-term thing. I think this will be a blip. I think when players that he likes are back fit, we'll see. I would say Martial, the next time he has a bad half an hour, you won't see him for 5 games because Sanchez will come on or Lingard will come on. The first excuse he's got, he'll be out. The same with Fred. The first bad 10 minutes Fred has, Fellaini will be back in. And I think Rashford should start against Bournemouth. I've got a funny feeling he'll start Lukaku. I do. Tyron Williams says Carrick wasn't a leader at all. That's true. He's not got the personality. He might do as a manager. But yeah, he wasn't on the pitch. Aaron St Martin says, can we sack Mark? I want to take over. Just start your own channel, mate. See how you get on. Great show, Mark, says Louise O'Donoghue. You know what? I've really enjoyed the show tonight. A lot of people getting involved in the live comments. A lot of people having their say. And I do think that, you know, if you're asking me honestly what I would like to see happen, I don't think it will happen. I'd like to see Real Madrid pay us 20 million for Mourinho. I'd like to see Mourinho go to Real Madrid. And then we go and get a new manager. I think that would suit everybody perfectly well. Because what I fear is going to happen is Madrid will get somebody else. Mourinho will stay. In the long term, he'll be sacked, and in the long term, United will be back in the Europa League. And you know, if you've got this, if you're offering me that or this scenario where Real Madrid pays for Mourinho and he goes and we get a new manager, of course I'm going to take that. And that's my explanation, really. You might be like, I don't want to give Madrid Mourinho because if they want him, it shows he's a good manager and I think he'll turn it around. That's fine. But the reason I would do it is because I fear that Madrid will get somebody else, Mourinho will get the sack, and we'll be back in the Europa League and the cycle will continue. Stephen Featley says Busby would be ashamed of Jose and Man United's board. Look, you know, I applaud a very, very, very good comment. If you think that Manchester United at the moment are what Manchester United are all about, we're nothing like it. I think we've got fantastic support. I think a lot of people who are supporting Mourinho are fantastic people who just, you know, they support the club. Win, lose or draw, whatever the weather, travelling around, supporting their club. They're great people, of course, and that's their opinion. But are Manchester United what Manchester United are meant to be about? No. And my fear, again, is that we're going to lose sight of that. We're going to, you know, we will, you know, how many years, you know, we've had 6 years of mediocre defensive pragmatic football. There'll be people who start supporting United or were growing up with United who 6 years ago might have been 4 or 5, who are now 11, and this is all they know. And they might support United, but this is all they know. They don't know what United is about. And if this goes on for another 5 years, that's 11 years without us being a football club that we are. The longer this goes on and the further we move, the more years it is away from what we are, the more likely we become what this shit new world is at United. Pragmatic defensive coaches. You know, it needs to change ASAP. We need to get back to what United's all about ASAP. A club that we're proud of on the pitch. And, you know, I'm not saying we have to win every week, but a club that entertains. And that's why I enjoyed the game on Sunday, because it was entertaining. But, yeah, let's see what happens. Ryan Beale says, why give him more money to waste on players he won't use or will ruin? If the board didn't like what he wanted in the summer, they should have sacked him. I think, you know, back him or sack him as mentioned a lot, Ryan. And I think he's spot on. Anyway, thanks everyone for watching. Please do drop a like on the video. We'll be back again at live tomorrow night at 8 o'clock as usual. And also 1 o'clock tomorrow, we've got the transfer show, so get involved with that. And remember to join me, Goldbridge live stream at 11 o'clock tonight if you want to watch a bit of Red Dead Redemption, sort of live gameplay, late hours. Join me for that. And also, just very exciting as well, just must announce this to you as well, that we, last year I did a 24-hour stream. It killed me. 24-hour stream, but it was for a great cause. We raised £8,000 for cancer because one of my best friends died of cancer a couple of years ago at 40, left a young family, and then a month later my gran died of cancer as well. So it was personal, but cancer impacts on everyone. We don't know what the charity is going to be this year, but we do know what the challenge is going to be. It's not a 24-hour stream, although it might end up being not far off that. There's a computer game called Outlast, which apparently is one of the most scary computer games you can play. So I'm going to put that game in, and I'm going to play it from start to finish, and probably get absolutely shit scared playing it, but it will be a live stream for however long it takes me to do it. So it's going to be entertaining because you're going to watch me get shit scared because I hate horrors, but we're also going to try and raise some money for charity as well. So that's what we're going to be doing in November this year. There's your exclusive heads up for that. I think it's going to be very interesting. We want to try and do things like this every year because £8,000 we raised last year. By the end of this year, we'll be into double figures. I'm sure we can do at least 2. And over the years, we can sort of say, this community, this is what we've done. But we're always looking for ideas. So, yeah. Thanks for watching. Drop a like on the video. Speak to you all soon. Mad Marcus is laughing because he's set me up with this challenge. I've played Granny before. That's not scary. See you later. Thanks for watching.